Welcome back to Bread and Butter, everybody, where we are the Hearthstone podcast, where we are serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. And I am Doc McButt. And as always, I am joined by Tito. Tito, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic, Doc. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, but rumor has it we have man, myth, the legend, Zeddy. Zeddy, how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you.
It's wonderful. So, Zeddy, what have you been doing inside Hearthstone recently?
Inside Hearthstone? Well, we're streaming all the time, trying to find modes. I don't stick to one game mode ever in Hearthstone, but lately it's been a lot of, I'd say standard, been playing a lot of Spooky Mage, dabbling in Wild with, I always play Quest Mage because I'm a degenerate like that, taking extra turns, and trying Arena. Arena's got some issues, but been playing that as well. And I tried to get into the whole twist thing with New Age, but didn't love the format, and then once I got to Legend, the queue times were pretty bad, so been mostly standard in Arena, I would say, lately.
Well, at least tomorrow with Arena, you get the new cards. So that should be fun.
I'm very much looking forward to that. It's the first time since like GVG, I believe, they put new cards early in the Arena, so I'm psyched to try that out.
Oh, true, right? Because they normally put them in duels, but I guess not Arena.
You can duels. They put it in that you can possibly draft them. Not that you can build with them, but you can draft them. And I even misremembered that. But yeah, it's the first time where you can straight up just draft new cards in the Arena since GVG, that was like right before I started playing. So it's the first time I've got to play early cards in Arena, which is really cool.
Fantastic. Doc, how about yourself? What have you been doing in Hearthstone?
Yeah, so for myself, I really haven't liked the standard meta in quite a while. And like a lot of people, I didn't really enjoy the twist meta because it's basically just all the stuff we just got done playing with. So I've been playing a lot of BGs. I was just shy of 6,500 today. As I was playing in the Squelch Discord, and Mad at Arms watched me lose 150 MMR, which didn't feel great, but I did get a pretty fun pirate build going and gained like 76 MMR back. So that was fun. That was worth it. But yeah, just a lot of BGs. Quests are back. Quests are fun. Still need a little bit of tuning, but yeah, it's just BGs are a little bit different now, so I enjoy that. Tito, how about yourself?
Well, on the BG front, I've been playing mostly with preparation for the Hyper Horizon matches because I am the captain now of the Hyper Horizon World BG team, and this week we got kind of crushed by the Aegis BG Club, Terry Zhang. If you remember, he's been on the episode a couple times, and Peaceful Sea wasn't able to be there, who is probably our best player, but Judge is on our team now. You might know Judge as the Arena Master, but he's also really good at Battlegrounds, and we also have Colonel Mustard. So we're building up a pretty good team. We just need some work and practice. Outside of that, I've been playing a lot of Relic Demon Hunter in Standard, and I've been playing Twist. I had 7 stars because I didn't play that short, brief season, and I guess that's about where my Wild rank is. So I wanted to get it up as high as I could just to make sure that I built up my star level. I got up to about D10. I've been playing a Scam DH, which is the one where you get the Fell Screamers and the big minions and the Taint Hearts, and it's really nice when you get a couple Taint Hearts and a couple burn manas against a Hollow Mage, and they can't do anything. So I've been really enjoying that. But Zeddy, how about outside of Hearthstone? What have you been up to?
I just finished Final Fantasy 16. I've been playing some other games, and my God,
Nice.
really. I was not even going to bother playing Final Fantasy 16 because I'm like a traditional Final Fantasy player. Love, like, my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy 6. It's like the traditional turn-based combat and all that stuff. But I played the demo. I was like, okay, this is rad. I got to try it. And it's just a really good Devil May Cry game to me with Final Fantasy flavorings. And I just really enjoyed it. It was really fun. And other than that, just outside the game is working on YouTube content. The review season for Titans takes like most of my time, getting up for every reveal and getting the YouTube content out there as fast as I can, and every single day. It's very time consuming, so not much outside of my life other than play some other games while I wait to review the next cards. And basically, that's been my life the last month or so. And always just, hanging around with Nova. She's always a nice cat to hang around with and stuff. So that's been good.
Heck yeah.
With things being as busy as they are, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight.
Oh, it's no problem. It's nice to get a break from that stuff.
Oh, well,
I'm sure.
And still talk more Hearthstone. Doc, what have you been up to?
So for myself, I just recently got back from a vacation out to Nebraska. It's where my girlfriend's family's from, and it was a family reunion and like town holiday, but also celebrating her great grandmother's 102nd birthday. And I imagine for most people, when they hear 102, they think some skeletal, decrepit sack of skin and bone that's bedridden. But that's not the case with Cortland's great grandma. She's 102. All things considered, for being as old as she is, she's in perfect health. She had polio when she was 7. The only medicine she takes is a thyroid pill. But I actually talked with her for quite a while. She's 100% with it. Like, she was cracking jokes, and she went out to the parade with all of us. It was just an awesome time. But I will say, as someone who grew up around the Cascade Mountains and then have moved to the Rocky Mountains, driving out through the plains where the land doesn't get broke off by a mountain and just disappears into the horizon was kind of unsettling. It just made me feel really, really, really small, because I have never seen that happen before. I've seen it happen with like the Columbia River and like the Pacific Ocean, but never with land in both directions. And I broke my toe before my vacation. But it's basically healed. I'm doing okay. Tito, what have you been up to?
Well, actually, so I have a question. Next time you see your partner's grandma, make sure you ask her how she feels about not being able to play with Legos anymore, because they're only from ages 5 to 99. So
I will.
But for me, I've been fixing my audio. So I had Thursday night, I decided not to stream because I keep going through this process where I want to work on things, I want to improve things, I want to do things, but then I get to the time where it's like 9 o'clock at night and I just want to play video games. So I just fire up the stream and play video games. So I took this last Thursday, and I fixed my audio, and I fixed up my OBS so it's a lot cleaner and I can better transition to other games. I built a stinger to do a transition from one screen to another, so that took a little while, but that was fun. And then having some conversations about trying to I have a mechanical keyboard, and it's click, 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 click. And I wanted to get rid of that ambient sound, so I'm working on it, and I was talking to the Koi Can See Discord. And during that, I found out that not only did I have some issues with my settings, which I have been fixing, but apparently I have a directional mic, and I've had my mic working like a Yeti mic, so it was pointing down at my desk. So instead of me talking, it was more my desk talking, and I happened to be kind of clipping on the side. So I hope we have that all fixed. I'm very excited. And going down that rabbit hole, I've been thinking about doing some music. I'm an amateur guitar player. I'm not good, but I figured maybe I can hook up my computer and get one of those connections that you can connect your guitar to the computer and start doing that. And I also want to get a Stream Deck. I'm finding my hobbies are really more expensive than I can afford. But that's okay. It's fun. I enjoy it. But Doc, I'm getting a little hungry. Maybe it's time for some appetizers here. How about we meet our guests and get to know them a little better?
Yeah, I agree. So Zeddy, how did you get started in gaming, and how did you find Hearthstone?
Gaming, 4 years old, my dad bought me an NES, and, well, the family an NES, at Mario and Duck Hunt, so, pretty classic start. Got in, just ever since then, been into gaming, and, Hearthstone, I discovered what Twitch was in, like to say, 2013, no, it wasn't, it was 2014, 2015, and I was like, I was always like what the top games were. And I'm like, what is this Hearthstone thing? And I think I found Crypt's channel and just like, I don't know, I don't really get what's going on. And then I looked it up, like, oh, it's a free to play game. This is while I'm kind of going to school for accounting and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking for something I can play for like free or whatever in my spare time. So I download it. like played it for a couple days. I'm like, this is pay to win garbage. I uninstalled it. And then I kept watching it on Twitch. I started understanding a bit more. And I'm like, well, this Crypt guy just plays Arena all the time. Maybe I could go back and just try Arena instead of trying to play ladder against all these broken legendary cards that I can't get. And then I just started playing Arena for months and months. And then I started spending money on the game and paying myself to win and moving up the ladder and got hooked on it that way. And then it turned into this somehow. It's crazy how that works out. But yeah, I found it just because it was a top trending game on Twitch at the time, basically. And I had never played a card game, like, period, really, other than, like, you know, poker and stuff. So never really like a collectible card game or anything like that. And just for some reason it hooked me.
Awesome. So was then Hearthstone the way that you found yourself into streaming and content creation?
Oh yeah, like I thought the whole idea of Twitch was really stupid. I didn't understand why people would want to watch someone play games and stuff, even from someone playing games. And I just became just obsessed with, like, it was like Hearthstone and speedrunning, which I still follow. I got really into speedrunning really early on. Like, I'm one of Summoning Salt, Carl Jobst, and some other guys, like, first 10,000 subs. I was, like, really into that scene super early. And watching that blow up too, and like that got me interested in content creation as well. And I went with the Hearthstone side of things, and I still follow all of that stuff. But yeah, I didn't really think about that. I mean, I was in school for like accounting. I had a full-time accounting job, and then I'm like, I'll just try it for fun, and then it led to this.
On the note of games done quick kind of thing, speedrunning, I know recently they just had a Hearthstone version of that where I guess they did the Lich King. What did you think of that?
Interesting. I actually wasn't able to watch much of it, but I mean, it's the only way you could really speed run Hearthstone is something, but that still changes. Like, cards get nerfed that you might want to utilize for that. It's an interesting one. It's kind of fun, but really hard to have a consistent speed run category in Hearthstone. I even did a whole speed run to Legend back in the day when I think it was when Demon Hunter was first introduced, and I set my world record, I decided to call it. I got to top 10 Legend in under 11 hours, starting a new account with Odd Demon Hunter. I went like 49-0 to start, but then that got crushed by like classic mode being filled with bots and people like literally not losing a game. But yeah, it was really kind of cool to see that, but it's definitely not the easiest game to set up realistic speedruns for. I guess Soul Adventures is your best bet though, so it was pretty cool to see it highlighted there.
Now, when you say that you did the speed run to Legend, did you ever used to participate in the rat race when we had the old ladder system?
No, I did not. I was not that good a ladder grinder at the time. I think later on probably was, but by then that had kind of died down. But I remember I can't remember who ran the rat race back. I can't remember who it was, but I used to follow it a little bit. But that was back when you would start at rank 17. There wasn't that star system, no rank floors. That stuff was brutal. So that was a real grind, unlike today, where you can get to Legend 11-star bonus in like a few hours, or even less if you get a good lucky run.
So you at one point were known for being one of the saltier content creators, and this isn't throwing any shade. Was this intentional as like a branding decision? Or have you always just been like very like point blank with how you feel?
I'm a sore, horrible loser, and I get really pissed off when I lose, and then I say stupid things when I lose. And before I could curate my thoughts a little bit better with like YouTube and stuff, all you would ever really see from me are like, oh, I'm getting pissed off on stream and not filtering myself whatsoever. I was just really angry. None of it was staged. None of it. If you watch my stream, I'm still really bad, but people watch my YouTube more than they watch my stream. So, I like, if I'm on a battle, I get so, I don't know, I just have a horrible way of losing, and I just get blinded by temporary anger. But the thing is, like, this few seconds after it, I always like realize and come down and be like, well, yeah, whatever. I just got on, like, whatever, it's stupid, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm someone who's very emotional, and yeah, just kind of can't filter myself when I'm losing that well. And also, I don't know, just early on I was a little bit angry about stuff with Blizzard and stuff behind the scenes, so I was like a little extra pissy, more so than I have been now, where I have a lot of really awesome relationships with not only the streaming community and like Twitch, but also with Blizzard and people that work there, and it makes it a lot more easy to be like, okay, well, just chill out a little bit here, you know?
Okay, so this kind of leads into the next question we have. So with your change of your perspective on being able to kind of like control your emotions, while still being critical of the game, when it deserves to have some critical points taken at it, what has that personal journey been like for you to be able to basically go from one end of the spectrum to kind of the other end?
Oh, I'm glad I've been able to grow as as an individual and a person by, hearing criticisms or having people give me feedback like, this is a bit too much, or, maybe approach things this way and talk to the people that are being directly affected by your comments and how it can impact them in particular. Like, people hear what I say and then they echo it and might not, or echo it in a bad way that they don't even understand what they're doing. And also just humanizing the other side of it. Like, everyone's human, everyone's imperfect, everyone makes mistakes, and it's fine to point it out and stuff, but like to make it like personal, or to just try and get like I don't know, clout or likes by just being over the top, like, because I used to make more of like jokes where I'd be a little bit more condescending and insulting. Like, I never do that whatsoever anymore. When I have a critique or a joke or something, I make it very tongue-in-cheek, or like it's just a silly meme, or and it's like not meant to be taken seriously. And I feel like I've accomplished, at least on Twitter. And I don't know, I'm glad that I've been able to grow, and I still need to, like, I'm someone that is always open to hear other sides of things, always open to criticism, and always open to improve, because nobody's perfect. I'm not even close to that, and I'm more than happy to try and always improve. Like, I'm in like that Hearthstone creator Discord, and sometimes Hat will like message me on certain things, like, you sure you want to like word something this way or ask something this way, and we'll like go back and forth talking about like the best way to approach things. And I still like, and I'm always open. I'm like, always message me. You have anything you think I should talk about or work on, let me know, and then I will always consider it, and I do my best to do that. So
I'll be honest, for a long time I had you blocked on Twitter because I didn't like the content. And then I always said, like, Zeddy's really smart, he's really good at the game, he has good thoughts, he's just toxic on some levels. And at least in my opinion, that was my kind of assessment. And then I was like, I really wish you'd take a different approach. And then I started seeing this. I would see like people retweeting some of the things that you were saying and all that. I'm like, wow, like Zeddy seems different. And I'm like, we asked, like, when you ask for somebody to change, or you wish somebody that changed, and you start to see it, you have to acknowledge that, because I don't think a lot of people do. And I think that everything you've been doing since you started and over the last couple of years has been phenomenal. I love that I've seen that growth from you, and I love that you've said, okay, well, I'm still salty. Yeah, sure. I still have my feelings in the game. I still get emotional in the moment when I'm on my stream and all that, but I'm going to take a different approach to it, and I'm going to find a better avenue for it. And I've been very impressed by that. So thank you. I think it's been amazing to watch.
It's funny. Sometimes I go back and look at my old tweets, and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. And then I read, I'm like, oh God, that was toxic. Like, what? I'm like being just a prick. So like, I definitely feel like again, I take all feedback to heart, and I'm not someone that ever pretends that they're perfect or can't improve. I'm always trying to improve, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, because otherwise, what are you doing? Like, everybody can always improve. And especially like this whole avenue being like a public face, or like content creator, is totally different than just being some jackass anonymous on Twitter, right? Like, where you just say whatever the hell you want because you're just hiding behind nobody knows who you are. But when you're like a public figure or whatever, yeah, you need to put a little bit more thought and care into stuff. And I keep working at that and keep trying to improve, and hopefully I keep doing that.
And you deserve the acknowledgement for that. And if I can quote a very famous philosopher, Rocky Balboa, if I can change and you can change, then we all can change. No, but it's been amazing to watch the journey and seeing you hop on Coin Concede and just watching your things. It's been great. So I just can't say enough that I love the way you've been improving things. But anyway, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah. So you have a interesting relationship with Cora. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
I don't really think there's much to it. When she got hired, I remember, I think within one day, I was happy with like how the meta is evolving. I'm like, Cora's been there for like one day and everything's great. And I remember she retweeted that and followed me, I think, around then. And no, I've never had. I've always had a good relationship with her from what I've seen or experienced. I've talked to her behind the scenes here and there. She came on to our Zeddy's year-end award show this year to accept her award for on behalf of Castle Nather, winning Best Expansion of the Year. And she's had like trolls and stuff come after her and try and like kind of get me involved to like, I don't know, like tell them not. Like I remember there was one time she added me with like this email she got from just a complete piece of crap, giving her crap saying, "I'm sorry, Zeddy," or whatever. And it didn't even really acknowledge me, but I guess she just assumed it was from one of my followers or something. And I'm like, I made sure to like quote it and be like, "Don't do this stuff to even if it wasn't from a person that followed me, I don't care. I'm just always gonna back her up because she's an awesome person. Everything I've seen that she's done to work with the team has always been top notch. Her first expansion she was the set lead for is one of my favorites. She's just a good person, and her fan, like her interactions with her dad are hilarious. He talks to me all the time on Twitter too. And I mean, he just quote tweeted me just like 2 days ago where I kind of went after a certain, at least one content creator that keeps posting how their card design ideas are better and all this stuff. And I'm like, just stop with this crap. You have no idea what you're talking about. Plus your ideas suck. And I'm just made a quote tweet or just saying a tweet of like, I'm glad we have who we have working, because, you know, these custom card people, or at least content creators, you know, they may think it looks easy, but it really isn't. And I remember he quote tweeted that saying, you know, these people have no idea how hard they have to work. And like, you know, it's got to be really hard to make 3 expansions plus 3 mini sets a year and try not have it be a completely broken, complete disaster, and also have it be fun. Like, that's got to be, it's basically an impossible task they try and do. So I respect it, and I feel like there's a lot. I feel like for me, Stormwind, I bring that up all the time, was kind of a big setback for the game. But I feel like ever since then, they've really kind of honed in on not making those mistakes again. And I've been really enjoying, at least overall, the direction of the game, even if it has some, you know, everything always has flaws, but I've been enjoying it a lot more, especially this last like year or so. So always shout out the team, and yeah, Cora I think she does a great job.
Well, the reason why I added the question to the interview is because it seemed like there was some kind of correlation between, like, you would, at the time, again, we've talked through a little toxic at times, and you would maybe put something out there, and she would respond in kind, be like, no, like, let's think about this, like, in a way that was more engaging, and kind of seemed like she was engaging with you more as a person that was frustrated versus shutting you down.
I do remember there was one incident where I said some words about a caster or something, and she was like she came in saying, like, trying to be like the middle person on it and stuff. That might have been maybe the incident. I don't know. That whole thing though was, I know I've been toxic in the past, but I still don't really back down from what happened on that incident. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, even there, like, she's always, even when like people are coming after me, she's even still kind of always had my back. And same with like Celestalon and I kind of went back and forth at one point. He blocked me like multiple times. She was always there, kind of like not really taking sides, but trying to communicate both sides at the same time, if that makes sense. And she's always still had my back on that stuff. And I remember there was one time Igzar, who at the time was like the Hearthstone lead, kind of made fun of me passive aggressively through somebody who was making fun of me on Twitter, and I saw that and I got really upset and made a pretty nasty tweet. And then she replied to it like, she DM'd me saying he was stupid for doing that, but I know what you just said, you didn't mean it. And then I like removed that tweet, apologized for it, and just moved on. So there were like kind of incidents like that, but those are all like 2 or 3 years ago or so, and it just seems so stupid looking back now. But yeah, the one with the caster, I'm just, if you know the details, it's still in that guy's mind still going on, so it's kind of interesting. But I don't really want to. I mean, if you want to talk about it,
no, that's good. That's good.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just very happy to be on good terms. It feels like pretty much everybody, at least on the Blizzard side, even though I've been blocked by Celestalon twice, I've been unblocked twice, which is even more important. And
Yeah.
he's more than happy to like answer questions and stuff when I ask them. So it's been really nice.
So speaking of being on good terms with people over at Blizzard, you got a card reveal this year for this expansion.
Who would have ever guessed that?
How was that journey for you?
Surreal. Like, I never would have ever got, like, I got asked like a couple months, like before, I think it was for Festival Legends. Someone's asked, "Oh, do you think you'll get a?" I'm like, I will never, and I promise you this, I will never get a card reveal ever. And I don't, like, I've burned too many bridges. I've pissed too many people off over the years. I'm never gonna get one. It's fine. I just hope people that I really want to get one get one. Like, I really wanted Hobbs to get one, and when he got one, I was so happy. I'm like, I'm more worried about that. I don't need it. It's literally just recognition. If you even look at like card reveal videos on Hearthstone, they pretty much always do worse than your regular videos. They don't like give you this magical growth. It's just more of like a nice, thank you from the team to give you that recognition. Then I got one for the mini set, and it's like, what? Okay. And then they leaked it. They leaked the one card. That was hilarious. I thought I screwed up because I woke up kind of half confused and I saw my card on Twitter. So I was losing my mind. What the hell just happened? And then it disappeared. I'm like, what did I do? And then, yeah, no, it was all right. And no, it was really cool. And I actually had a duels reveal the year before because Atish is a big fan of, well, he's the lead duels lead at the time, and he was always a big fan of mine, and we talked a lot, and he's like, I guess he fought for me to get that reveal, so that was really cool. And Alkali helped get that one, and that was really awesome. And the fact to have I could say I got a card reveal now, and I've been theory crafting and giveaway codes and all this, like, who would have guessed this like 2 years ago? It's pretty insane. The guy who's trying to destroy Blizzard apparently because I was mad about the battle pass is pretty crazy. So no, it's surreal. I'm honored by it, and just, yeah, I can't believe I had one. It's just crazy.
And if anybody's confused, we're talking about Funnel Cake, I believe, that also was revealed accidentally when they first announced, the day before they announced the mini set, I believe. They accidentally tweeted and had it. And I believe you worked that into your reveal, saying, well,
Mm-hmm.
So that was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So when DK came out, it seems like it very quickly became your favorite. What about DK made it appeal to you?
I could play Control again. That was nice. Blood DK was, I mean, it's not as great these days, but I don't know. I just really like I just thought it was such a cool design class. The rune system, although it's starting to kind of be frustrating, the rune system. But at the time, like, just being able to build like basically 3 classes within one. I really like the corpse mechanic. Just healing for a lot always feels satisfying to me in Hearthstone. I love lifesteal, so like Blood Boil just felt so good to like clear a board and heal to full, and I don't know, it's just really cool cards. And also I just love to grind for like new achievements. I'm like, oh, 1,000 wins, that's an achievement. Well, I know what I'm doing for the next month because I did it in less than a month. And
Nice.
yeah, I still really do enjoy the class. I think, like, for me, I can't stand Demon Hunter. I still can't stand it after 3 years. But Death Knight, I've loved from day one, and I just really always get excited to see what they're going to add to it. And I just wish there'd be more, I don't know, the rune system's just kind of weird, but at least for the start, it's really cool so far.
I enjoy the juxtaposition of what you said earlier, that basically you were talking about how you would get tilted, and get salty about things, yet you play Blood DK, which tilts me to no end.
Well, you don't like facing it if they're clearing your board every turn and healing instantly, but it's kind of fun to do that when you're on the other side of it, right? But I also played a lot. Like, I played Blood. I played Blood and Frost the most. I didn't play a lot of Unholy. But I like those two the most. But yeah, I know a lot of people really, really do not like facing Blood DK. I see my comments every day, but I feel like that goes for any control deck. Same goes for Priest. When Control Warrior was top tier, like boom, people couldn't like people just don't like having their stuff removed and not being able to kill people. It's just frustrating. And those classes, when they're at their top, they're really good at doing that.
For me, it's the critical mass. It's not any one thing that the Blood Death Knight does. It's the Blood Boil plus the is it Wrathweaver and plus the patchwork. It's like a critical mass of everything. Because the worst thing is that 8 mana Twisting Nether that clears your board with a 5/5 body. And oh, by the way, I just gained a bunch of corpses. What the heck? You like.
Just wait for the 9 mana Warlock Titan that clears your board and then summons infinite imps for the rest of the game with taunt. That'll be a
yeah, but we're gonna be in a dirty rat meta now that people are just gonna pull that out because if there's no battle cry, there's no Twisting Nether portal, and then who cares?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's gonna be very frustrating for Warlock players, but we'll see. Anyway, Doc, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So Zeddy, what is a little fact that some people would find surprising about you?
I'm Canadian, so is playing hockey that surprising? That I own basically that I'm like kind of a film junkie, or at least I used to be. I don't have as much time for it as I used to, but I have a film collection around like 1,500.
Oh wow!
Spanning from there's a film I own from every year from about 1921 to like current year, and
that's really cool.
And that spans from like tons of different countries too, like. Japanese film is probably my favorite, but Japanese, Korean, Swedish, got Italian, English, of course American, and a lot of South American films as well. Just super into like movies, particular like more of the serious type dramas and classics, and that's probably but now with all this stuff, I just rarely find time to watch movies these days. Like half the movies in my collection I still didn't watch, but they're there at least. One day, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of movies to have. Mm-hmm. So sub question for you about movie collecting. Do you have any criterions? Or do you know what the Criterion collection is?
I'm just looking at how many I have. I think I have like probably around 100 or so. And I have some Eclipse series. I don't know if they still make Eclipse series, but they were like they didn't want to get full Criterion release, so they put it in these little mini things. So I have like a Kurosawa, I think an Ozu one, but yeah, I have the Criterions are so expensive, but they always felt super worth it. Like I bought Seven Samurai twice on Criterion because because they upgraded. I'm like, I have to get that again. It's so good. And then I saw Seven Samurai in a theater for the first time. That was amazing. So yeah, I haven't bought any recently in quite a while. I think the last one I have is the Human Condition trilogy, and that came out quite a while ago now. So spy number like 400 or 300 something.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
My first and only Criterion so far was Uncut Gems, which was also the first Blu-ray first release for Criterion.
Is that Adam Sandler's thing?
Yes. Yeah, it's Adam Sandler's very serious role, which I am so incredibly upset he didn't get Best Actor for that, because man, if you like Adam Sandler movies and want to see a guy be funny, Uncut Gems is not that movie, but it is an incredible movie.
They don't seem to like giving comedians. I mean, they didn't even nominate Jim Carrey, and he had he won Golden Globes Best Actor for 2 of those films. I think it was Eternal Sunshine, Truman Show. They didn't even nominate him. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he was probably snubbed for whatever. I don't know who has been nominated that year, but yeah, I don't really value Oscars much at all. Like I just when they gave Crash Best Picture, I'm still can't believe that. That's a film I just thought was super overrated, but yeah, does not surprise me whatsoever.
I'm familiar with Uncut Gems and the other movies you're talking about, but the first half of that I felt like Storm Rage when everyone else starts talking about Destiny, because I had no idea what you're talking about.
Criterion Collection, by the way, is like a super high end like DVD/Blu-ray production company that puts out like art house old, typically foreign films and do perfect, like as good restorations as you can, plus incredible commentaries, special features, and they charge like $50 to $100 for each. Like they're very expensive, but
yeah,
always feel
and
worth it.
They come with cool stuff most of the time too.
And the
Collectible
artwork on the DVD covers are phenomenal.
Yes.
Well, after this episode, make sure you get with Doc. He can tell you some of the movies that his brother has worked on that have been nominated for different kinds of awards, because his brother is in the filmmaking arena.
Cool.
Yeah, and his next movie he for sure is working on is in March, but I don't think I'm allowed to say what it is because I don't think I'm allowed to know what it is.
It's the Human Centipede 4.
Yeah, that's it.
Finally the long-awaited sequel to The Room. That's what we need.
Oh my.
Okay. Total aside. Do you guys remember there was a show? It was something called The Room or something like that, but it was this weird sci-fi show that was like a mini series. They had like 6 episodes, where one of the guys from Warehouse 13 was in it, I believe, and it was like there were all these artifacts from this hotel room that got distributed. They all had different powers and all that. It was a really weird. It was like Room 13 or something like that, or Room 60 something, or. It was a really weird sci-fi show, but I remember I used to love it, and I don't remember what happened to it. It wasn't very popular, but I really...
Not popular enough for me to know, at least. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
So, okay, one final tangent about movie adjacent stuff. One of my friends, his parents are actually friends with Johnny Wiseau, and like he's like met Johnny Wiseau several times throughout his childhood into his adulthood. And Johnny's remembered his name every single time. And he is the way he is on screen in real life, according to my friend and his parents.
I think he has to be to make a film like that. I don't think it's possible to fake that. It's just, that's who that dude is, straight up. That's what makes it so amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, doing what he did to make that movie is an incredible feat in and of itself. Because making a movie on any scale is ridiculously hard. But anyway, we have our very first listener submitted question by Direst Bear. So Direst Bear wants to know, Zeddy, what has been the key to your success as a content creator?
Just consistency. Like you gotta put in, it's all about like the time, putting in the time. Like for me on YouTube, I upload every single day. I haven't missed a day in like almost 2+ years. I took a couple days off because I had some pretty personal things going on. Other than that, just being consistent and also just reacting to what people are saying. Like if something's not working, you're probably being told somehow by like, if you have any comments or stuff or whatever, how to keep improving, and also just paying attention to like trends and what other people may be not doing, and just finding who you are. Like I find a lot of people when they go into content creation, like, oh, maybe I can like be like this guy and emulate this guy or do this and that. You got to be yourself, find your own identity, be consistent, and just keep trying to improve. Because when you start, you're going to suck. Particular when you start, I thought I was doing great when I started, and I now watch some of my old stuff. I'm like, God, it was terrible. So just always work on improving, be consistent, and it takes a long time to build something up. Like I just think being a content creator is the first thing you need to be doing is doing it because it's fun and something you want to do, and not because you want to make it a job or something. Just do it because it's like your hobby, your passion, and if it turns into something, that's great. But I just recommend just doing it because you want to do it and be consistent. And you know, if you're just a sporadic uploader and people can't reliably follow you, it's not going to be the best for your success as a content creator, at least for the most part, unless you're like one of those guys that put out like the most insane high quality videos ever, and they only put out like 1 or 2 or 3 a year, and it's like, well, I'm gonna watch it because it's that crazy. Me, I'm just rambling about cards, so can't really do that so much. It's always changing, but yeah, that's probably what I would say.
All right, the show I was talking about was called The Lost Room. I put a link in there, but that way the audio. It was just a little mini series. But Doc, how about we talk about the new expansion for a little while?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Now, if you're listening to us, we're probably not the first podcast you listen to. So there are other podcasts like Coin Concede that are going to break down most of the cards or most of the things and give you the meat of what's going on. We don't need to do that. That's not what we're here for. But it's definitely worth getting into a little bit. So go ahead, Doc. Why don't we start with this?
Yeah, so one, Titans. But what decks are we planning on playing day one, and what cards or packages are we most excited about? So for me, I really want to try to play the Armor Attack Warrior, because Warrior has just been in such a funky spot for so long, which just feels weird because at least in my memory, I feel like Warrior has always been somewhat like decently relevant for like the majority of Hearthstone, and then it kind of feels like it tapered off recently with having like maybe a deck or maybe two to be like tier 2. But this new Armor Attack Warrior with their Titan just is hitting all the right buttons for me. So that's the thing I'm the most excited about.
Zeddy, how about yourself?
I'm definitely interested in that because it's like an actual win condition for like if you want to play Mark Controlling Warrior, which has been lacking for a very long time. It's like one of the only ways I feel like they like, unless Warrior just gets infinite value like every other class like Priest and Mage and all these other classes that just never run out of cards, they gotta have a way to win. So turning your armor into smarking is kind of pretty cool, and I'm definitely interested in trying it out. Sargeras and Warlock just looks really cool, and like just I'm much more of a late game player, so like summoning giant minions, like it kind of reminds me of Handlock. You got like Forge of Wills, this new location that lets you like copy a minion and just you get the giant with rush with it. That could be really interesting. And I guess the other thing I'm most intrigued by, Mage is my most played class, and looking at this whole like spell school Mage really kind of interests me, where you try and like just generate all these different spell schools, and you either like kill your opponent with like little mini Malagos, which is probably my favorite card ever, or you like just summon a giant board of these elementals. Just looks really, really cool and interesting, and might just slot into like that skeleton mage style thing where you're just playing that package, and pretty excited for that. And I guess just playing the Druid Titan, refreshing my mana and drawing my deck also kind of, Druid and Mage I have like about 9,000 wins with each, so I look at those classes and if they have cool cards I kind of get excited, and the Druid Titan looks pretty cool too, so I just want to play the big Titans. They look ridiculous.
Now the Druid Titan already tilts me. I'm already tilted by it. I am already going to be so annoyed losing to that deck, I can tell you. Like it's just like playing when they had the Anubricon, because it wasn't the Anubricon, it was the Anubricon plus all the extra things, plus, oh, by the way, here's an Astalar, here's a Brand, here's an Astalar. It's like, come on, really? So I can already feel like I'm going to be tilted.
No, you can do with Eonar is you can play Eonar, and then you can refresh your mana crystals, and you play the copy artist, make a copy immediately, and then you can draw your whole deck if you want, or you can restore your health entirely right away, because you make a copy, you can play that ability right away, so that'll be fun.
Copy artist is my pick for the first emergency nerf.
Yeah, that card's going to be pretty good with Titans.
Which is weird because it's been like the most like innocuous card up until now. Like I don't think I've ever seen it played, but everyone's going to have it day one. But,
yeah, I think so.
I am looking forward to probably playing Demon Hunter because it looks really strong. It looks like it's going to be really powerful. And speaking of broken, I think it's going to be one of those ones on the initial. We need to do something about deck. So I want to try to get Legend early this month, coming up in August, and I think Demon Hunter is my ticket to it. So I'm probably gonna really, and I'm getting close to 1,000 wins with Demon Hunter. So that's going to be my ticket there, I think.
Best portrait in the game is 1001 Demon Hunter, still, in my opinion. It's so good. You get the demonic Illidan. Unbelievable. I might not like the class that much, but I love that portrait.
I am my scars.
Fair.
So, Zeddy, what do you think is the class that got the biggest shaft in the expansion?
Priest. Priest got pretty much nothing. The Titans incredible they're getting. And they're getting a shadow visions for minions, that's great, but they have this weird like generate minions that didn't start in your deck thing, and a legendary that's really slow to bring them back, and like this weird pogo hopper like I don't think any of the packages they got work. It's just going to be Control Priest with the Titan and drawing an extra copy of a really good minion, which is incredible, and maybe Shadow Priest still, but Shadow Priest got nothing either, so I don't know. Priest got very little, and Rogue, I feel like, is stuck in a perpetual state of, is this going to break with Shadow Step? Well, probably, so we got to make a bunch of other stuff, and now we got Mech Rogue, which just doesn't really feel like a Rogue deck. Yeah. The Rogue stuff seems, it might be okay because the Legendary is, like, insane. The Mimeron card looks incredible, but I don't know. Rogue and Priest are kind of standouts for me. I think a lot of classes got a lot of stuff, but yeah, I don't know about those two.
I agree with you on both of those, and the problem with the Mech Rogue is I think it's going to be good. I think it's actually going to be better than people think it is by looking at what the Spark Barts can do and some of the power that's there. It's just it doesn't build a cohesive set with, at least obviously it doesn't build a cohesive set with the other cards that have been presented to us in last expansion and even the previous year. And outside of Miracle Rogue, I know people get worried, and it doesn't feel as roguey. So even if the cards are good, people are going to be less interested to play it because it doesn't do what Rogue really wants to do, or the players that play Rogue really want to do with Rogue. And the other problem is a lot of times, even like I enjoy mech decks, and I enjoy tribal decks, but a lot of times those decks tend to peak early and then fade, and people lose interest in them because they want to do other things. And playing the tribal decks are very linear, usually, or very standard. So I think it's actually good. I think Rogue's actually stronger than people are giving it credit for, but I can definitely see that it's also at the same time disappointing people that really are drawn to the class. But yeah.
Speaking of mechs, I expect Mech Paladin to be really strong. They got some really good and there's already a lot of existing stuff that if you play WoW, you know how good Mech Paladin can be, and now they got kind of a Mech Warper now. They might actually be good in Standard too.
And don't sleep on Mech Mage, because now you got Shark with a thing that every time you hit a minion for whatever, it freezes with Magnetize.
Yeah, chugga.
Chugga, shark.
I was actually I was talking with Theo today, is like, why didn't they just put Snow Chugger in the core set and buff it with Magnetic instead of making this new card? It's like it's only one word different. It's kind of funny.
How about you, Doc? You have any thoughts on classes that got the shaft?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say Priest as well. But that doesn't make me sad at all, because Priest has been historically like one of the most tilting classes for me. I think the only two Priest decks I've ever like actually liked playing was like OG Dragon Priest and OG Big Priest back when those were both in Standard. But Priest has just always been one of the biggest tilters for whenever it's beaten me. Even like if it was a control v control matchup, it's just, I don't know, just something about Priest just makes me so tilted whenever I have to lose against them. Which means I probably need to play better in the matchups. But
no, it just means you're human, and Priest pisses almost all of us off.
Yeah. So what do we think, Zeddy? What do you think is going to be the tyrant of the meta coming into the next expansion?
I think Demon Hunter just looks broken. Like, it's already really strong with the relics, and that like the two legendaries they got are just outright like absurd. And they already just have a ton of tools that Demon Hunter looks just terrifying. And I think Hunter is going to kill a lot of people really quickly. They got a lot of cheap burst, and like their Titan like gives you 15 damage right out the gate. They have a weapon they can cheat out. I actually think Always a Bigger Jarmonger is a card to look at that might actually just be disgusting, with where you give that excess damage dealt attacks hit the enemy hero could be really good. So like Hunter, I could see being that good Smork deck to try and keep some of this greed, because there's a lot of greed in this expansion. And Demon Hunter just looks like, I can't believe Jotun's a real card. I gotta see if I'm overrating it. I'm really curious, but that card, play that on 5. I don't know if you don't die in a turn or two. I don't know how you're losing with all that extra value, and it can't even backfire. You get a copy and it's targeted. It's just crazy to me. So Demon Hunter really stands out to me, and I'm ready to rage.
and I agree with you on that. I think that Demon Hunter is going to be broken. I already said that. I'm already trying to figure out what the nerf to Hunter is going to be, because I don't know if we've had this confirmed yet. We'll find this out in the theory crafting stream over the next couple days. But when you always a bigger Jägermeister, a Hollow Hound, and that Hollow Hound does not only does it do extra damage to all the minions, it then goes face, and that damage to the face, I believe, will also be lifesteal. So that becomes Reno plus.
Yeah, that's been confirmed on Twitter. It does work that way.
So I'm sure that they're going to want to nerf Hollow Hound before they nerf Jägermeister, or whatever you call it. I don't even know how to say it. But because they're going to want to keep the newer cards interesting if they can. But Hollow Hound's days of being a meta tyrant are probably short. It's still going to be a good card, but they're going to probably break it. I wouldn't be surprised if they increase the mana cost by 1 and the damage down by 1 at the same time. It is that good.
I'd be sad because I think it's kind of a cool card that's really opened up deck building for Hunter that it's not really had since like Rexar was a staple, because you actually have reliable healing. And Blood Decay is already not that great, but I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely up there and it probably provides just a little too much healing for what it does, because like it's basically a Reno when you play it almost always. So I could see like for Demon Hunter as well, like Unleash Fel is a card that I still can't believe is in its current state, where it does a similar thing where on 6 you can combo it and clear the board and fully heal. That can be pretty frustrating too. So I could see stuff like that emerging.
I agree. They should revert it to 5 mana, like for the blood, whatever it's called, the mechanic, the Mana Thirst.
Mana Thirst.
Yeah, it was much better at 5. So before we get on to the next question, and actually we got to get Doc's question on the Meta Tyrant too, but what are your thoughts on the Demon Hunter? How good do you think? Excuse me, Death Knight. I always say Demon Hunter and Death Knight.
I still do it too.
Right. I think everyone does, or almost everyone does. What are your thoughts on Death Knight in this expansion? Are you happy with it? Because you're pretty much. Are you confirmed the winningest Death Knight player?
Even. There's someone in my chat said they had like 4,000 wins with it. They play like an ungodly amount of Unholy. I only have like, I slowed down after I got the 1,000. I'm at like 1,800. Still a lot, but no, I'm not even. There's no way I'm even close now. The Death Knight stuff is kind of frustrating because like it's one weird jank mechanic of plagues, and like some of it's double Unholy, some of it's not, but you basically have to go double Unholy, but you really need some of these other cards that have a single Frost rune. So if you want to play this new archetype, you really have to go double Unholy and Frost, which isn't a thing, but maybe it will be a thing. But I can't play my triple Unholy or Blood cards. It's just, I don't know. It seems like it's really they haven't been able to find a way to make anything other than triple rune decks work, and I'm curious to see if they're going to find a way, because right now it just feels like we're still, if you play Death Knight, you're still just playing the same stuff from March the Lich King, which is like half a year now. Like the class isn't evolving like almost at all. The new Titan's incredible. I think it's really good in Blood and Unholy. I think you're gonna play that, but it just feels like you're slotting 1 or 2 new cards a set maybe into these pre-existing things, because those rune requirements, which were great at the beginning, it just feels like it really pigeonholes you when you can only make 10 cards for a class. So like for this stuff to work, it has to spawn a whole different rune requirement, or the old deck just adds like 1 card to it. So neither of those things particularly excite me, you know?
And yeah, I understand. I think we need to be a little patient with the class, because coming into this meta, the 4-set meta, they had like the most advantage because they still had the Path of Arthas stuff that kept them above everybody else. And it was eventually they've nerfed it, and they've kind of brought it back into balance, or maybe below balance, or playable but tough. So I think that they will find their rhythm of the class, kind of like they have with Demon Hunter, because Demon Hunter, whether you like it or don't like it, has probably some of the most diverse plays right now, because you can play Relic DH, you can play Outcast DH, you can play Big DH, you can play. There's a bunch of different archetypes playing a 4-set meta, which is rare, and I think that Death Knight will get there. And I think that we just need to kind of let them find a way to even things out. And I'm sure that over the next couple expansions into next year, they're going to find a way to give us both triple rune decks and hybrid decks. But I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of my feeling, is that they're still trying to feel their way through it.
Yeah, no, that's just the way I see it. Just kind of curious to watch it develop, and we'll see how it plays out. I haven't played the cards yet. Maybe it'll work out great, and maybe we'll get that double unholy frost, and then we have a whole different thing to try out. That'd be great. And it's just kind of on paper, it's like, oh, I don't get to add anything to like what we're already doing, and we'll have to see how it plays out, I guess. Except for the Titan. The Titan just does look incredible, and I'm looking forward to playing the Primus.
And I'm looking at the plagues, and my initial result was this is going to be one of those things like that tilts you again, not you, like the general you, because it just seems like it's going to get very frustrating when you just lose to those plagues. But anyway, sorry for the tangent. Doc, who do you think is going to be the meta tyrant?
So I'm just not gonna say Demon Hunter, but I really think that like I'll say Demon Hunter in this sense. I think the big three are gonna be Demon Hunter, Druid, and Warrior. I mean, might be a little bit wishful thinking, but I would love for Warrior to just come back with an absolute vengeance and just laying the smackdown with gaining a bunch of armor and just dealing a bunch of damage. I think that'd be fun. And Druid, still good, and will only get better with A&R being added to their card pool. So those are my two picks for the Meta Tyrants.
So that actually is a good question. So we think A&R will be good. We think Sagaris will be good. We think the Primus will be good. The Rogue Mech guy will be pretty good. How many of these Titans do we think will actually see regular play? Because a lot of them have a powerful effect on the first cast, which is probably the only time you're going to actually get to use the Titans most of the time, because the priority will be to remove those before they can do any more damage. But out of the 11, how many of them do you think are actually going to see regular play in decks that aren't necessarily meme decks? Zeddy, what do you think?
Maybe 11. I think I like it. Reminds me of the Colossals. They all saw play. Even Kolak has seen play at times. It just reminds me of that. Mage stands out as one that might be a little bit more awkward, but you can reverberations and stuff and copy it, so there's potential there. Paladin one, like I don't see a bad, even like the Voltron one I'm pretty low on. I still think it can see play. The Shaman one seems insane to me. Warlock seems great. Even the Warrior one, which I think it's just a good tool for like a control deck to try and stabilize and just fight for board, give you health. You can even play it after your Titan, gain extra attack with one of the abilities. I think they could all see realistic play, but I guess if I was to be like a bit more realistic, I'd say probably like 8 or 9. Like I think the vast majority of them will see play.
There, and I'm kind of disappointed that there wasn't a 20 health minion for Shaman to directly contest, because I thought that's what was going to happen. Is like, why is it 20? I was expecting something 20 health that was going to be a. This is why we put that in there. But Doc, how about you? How many Titans do you think are going to see play?
Yeah, I mean, most of them seem like they're going to be playable for like their archetype. But yeah, like Zeddy said, like about 8 of them, because they're all pretty strong, and everyone likes playing with new toys. And when new toys do big scary things, they get played with for a long time. So I would say at least 8 of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if all of them see somewhat regular play in like at least a mid tier 2 deck.
Okay, fair. I personally think that people are going to overplay the Titans at first because they look so powerful, and I think it's going to get to a point where we're going to be seeing people play Titans, and we're going to be listening to Zacho say, "Why are you still playing this Titan? It's never good. It's fun." It's going to be like, I think some of them are going to be Ticketus, where that they seem like they're good. You play them because when you win, it feels really good. You get that dopamine hit. But the statistics are going to say, no, you're better off playing something besides that. So we'll see. But they all look fun. They all look interesting. I like what they've done with the mechanic. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about why they did the mechanics, make sure you listen to Doctor 3 this week, because they did an interview with Cora and Celestalon at the same time where they talked about the development of that. So that's please give our friends over at Doctor 3 a listen. But Zeddy, sleeper pick. What's a card we're sleeping on right now? What card is going to be so good that no one's really paying attention to?
And that's a tough one. I just did a full review today too with Theo, and I'm just looking through. Maybe the Lab Constructor. It's a card for Rogue, the mech one that at the end of your turn summon a copy of this, where that can snowball so ridiculously out of control. It reminds me of, well, it's very similar to like Malignant Horror in Demon. Now I want to say Demon Art Death Knight. God, see, I always do that too. But it's you can give it magnetic, you can buff it up, and like if you don't kill both of them right away, the game is just gonna end because you're just gonna have infinite stats. And there's ways of even hand buffing now in Rogue with like the tutor spell for it. I don't know, cards like that, they don't look great because it's just 4 mana 3/2. That's not great, but at the end of your turn, summon a copy of this, and there's things you can do with that. Give it stealth with like parts of that the legendary give that can be really nasty really fast. So maybe that's one that, especially with the Rogue players crapping so much on the set, that they're not hyping up at all, right? So maybe it's the Lab Constructor.
Doc, what do you think?
I'm still I forget the name, but it's this basically scry your opponent's deck and you can put it at the bottom. I think that's better than what people think it is. I don't think it's going to be like a meta breaker card or anything, but I think it's going to be better than people's initial assessments.
Algalon the Observer, I believe it's called.
That is correct, and it's one of the diamond ones. The diamonds look really good. It's Algalon and it's Eonar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can we also talk about how good just all the signature cards look this expansion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they're all just absolute bangers. Like 10 out of 10 every single one.
Compared to March of Lich King, we've come a long way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I literally would take every one of those when you'd auto build your deck. You'd always put the signature in. I would take it out. I would throw it out of the deck. I'd never use them. And now it's like I want all of them.
See, I wasn't as down on the Wrath of the Lich Kings. I kind of liked the style of it given the format. And the only one I was upset about was was it Invincible? Is that the name of the card?
Mm-hmm. The immense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I disenchanted my Golden Invincible because I got the other one. I was kind of sad about that. But I don't know. I thought it fit the set, and I really enjoyed it. And I get why people didn't, but I thought it looked really good. But no, I agree with you, Doc. They'll Mimron. Oh my God. Like they couldn't. I think that's like the best one they've done ever. That just looks amazing, and I'm looking forward to not getting any of them and wishing I had, but that's okay. I think that Son of Hodir is going to be a card that we really get sick of really fast because it puts it's like boats for Rogue with the draw 3/3 pirates, but instead it's 8/8. Giants, and I think we're gonna hate that real quick. I think that feels like it's a stronger card, and it's a 2/of, so I think we're gonna really just hate that. Oh, by the way, it's my turn, and oh, by the way, here's an 8/8 that here's another 8/8 that just drew out of my deck. Have fun with that. Oh, and I play the rest of my turn, so I think that's gonna be one of the I haven't heard much talk about that card, and I think it's gonna be pretty strong, and I think people are gonna hate it. But Doc, I don't know about you. I'm starting to get pretty hungry. Those appetizers were good. Did we skip something?
We skipped Zeddy, didn't we?
No, we went. I gave my pick.
Oh, that's right. I added a question or a statement. I'm sorry.
I understand, Doc. You're hungry, so sometimes when you're hungry, you forget things. That's cool. But how about it's time for the main course?
Yeah, anything.
All right. So today our main topic, if you follow Zeddy at all on Twitter, you know he has thoughts on power creep. So that's our talk today. So Zeddy, what is power creep? At least in regards to Hearthstone and other TCGs. By the way, half the time when I was writing the show notes, I wrote feature creep, and I had to correct it because I'm in software development. So I was like, no, power creep, not feature creep. So what is power creep? And what's a good definition for that?
Well, I just feel like it's when you're kind of, if you take a look at an old card, like just it's a 1-mana 2/2, and then you make a new card and it's a 1-mana 2/3, you're just making it more powerful. And the idea of power creep is as over time, you know, you make more cards, you want to make them more exciting and more engaging or whatever, you typically start making more and more powerful cards. And we've seen that throughout the history of like every card game like ever, including Hearthstone.
So what are some good examples of power creep in Hearthstone specifically?
I guess you could take a look at like cards or ideas that were tried in the past that just didn't work. And like, okay, well, we like the idea, but it wasn't, you know, good enough or strong enough, so let's re-explore that and try it. And we've seen that even with this set. There's a warlock spell where for 1 mana you can destroy your own minion and also pick a enemy minion and destroy both of them for 1 mana. And there was a spell that came out years ago, I think in Frozen Throne, that was the same idea, but 3 mana, 3 times the cost, and you got to pick your own minion and destroy a random minion, so it was even worse. But that card was terrible. It saw no play, so we kind of like the whole self-sacrifice thing. It works for Warlock. It's a cool idea, and there's a lot of like death rattle stuff and shenanigans like that. Let's try that again. So I feel like revisiting old ideas or like, you know, pushing the envelope a little bit more every set, I think is perfectly fine to create excitement. I think we'd all be bored if we were playing the same style of stuff, the same power level always. There are definitely good uses of it, and there's a reason it exists. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think we'd be always going down that road.
That's fair. And I know you post about it often. So when do you think power creep is good, and when do you think it's not?
Well, yeah, like I said, I think it's good when we're going through old ideas or just trying to create excitement. I feel like it's not when you're just, I call it the Demon Hunter problem, where a lot of Demon Hunter cards are old cards from like Wild or whatever that were already iconic, already good, and then we just kind of make it again but better. I feel like if we're just doing the same thing again but stronger, that can be a bit frustrating. And also just sometimes it feels like it's a shortcut almost, for rather than creating new and different ideas, of just taking an old idea and redoing it but make it stronger. And that can lead to, I just feel like almost like we've seen this mechanic before, it's really strong, but I'm already bored of this. I've already seen this. I'm sick of the same thing, like giving Divine Favor. I know I'm using Demon Hunter as an example, but they gave Demon Hunter like a better Divine Favor. I actually don't think it's going to see play because they already have better draw, but like, let's just say that's good. It's like, man, I already got frustrated Divine Favor years ago, and now we're going through that. It's almost like playing Twist right now. If you weren't a fan of that format that we just saw, it's like, I don't want to go back and see that, but more powerful because it has newer cards that we didn't have then. So that can be frustrating. And also just sometimes it pigeonholes you if you're constantly making cards more powerful. And they're like, when does it stop? When you hit that threshold of like, the game's just getting to be too crazy, everyone's dying too fast. We saw that in Stormwind, where you were just OTKing everybody on like turn 5 and 6 for every deck. It's like, this doesn't even remind us of Hearthstone anymore. So it almost is like we power creep, we make the card stronger, we make the weapon stronger, the spell stronger, but we still only have 30 HP. We still only have that starting hero power. Sometimes that stuff just can't keep up, and it also has that issue. So I feel like there's a lot of potential downside to it, but you know, overall you got to manage it. And I comment on it a lot, but a lot of it is just me just making memes and jokes for the most part, I would say.
And that's fair. And we've definitely seen some of this recently. I can give a couple examples. Like we had Marabi, which was a legendary hero that would, I believe, freeze a card and give a copy of it. Now we have Cold Storage, which does it for 1 mana without 1 mana without a body.
Yep.
And they take like, hey, this didn't work because Marabi never saw it play. Same thing I think we're seeing right now is I think it's Freya has the same effect as Elise did, or pretty close to it. And Elise saw a little play, but Freya seems it doesn't have the same restrictions, because I believe you had to have
no duplicates
in your deck. So do you think when they do something like that, it's like, hey, this card really didn't say play, but we really like the mechanic, let's find a better way to do it?
And Freya is 8 mana. She might arguably be a lot worse, but she can also copy minions, which can be your Titan, so that's relevant. No, I totally like that type of stuff. And I think that was like, yeah, it was not a very used mechanic. It was very fringe. It was totally fine. It's just when it's like super similar but just straight up better, it's like you start to wonder sometimes. Like even the snow chugger example we had earlier, for like we have a new mech for mage, 2-mana 2/3 mech, freezes whatever it hits, right? It's the exact same card with just magnetic on it. It's like, why not just buff snow chugger type of thing, right? If you get a power creep there. So but again, you want to make the game exciting, and it's really hard to not without making new and more powerful stuff. I just wish they would use wild reset, like when they rotate stuff to standard, to reset things a little more than they do. Because like this year, I felt the power creep hit the hardest because we had that rotation, and like nothing changed. Like we had, because Deathlight didn't lose anything, and they were just still super powerful, and like Rogue was still doing all the same miracle stuff. It was like we just lost all these cards, but the meta felt the exact same, and the new stuff, which wasn't as powerful, didn't really seem like it made a big impact, because it's like they didn't power creep enough in the new set, or almost. It's kind of crazy that way. That Festival has felt, until the mini set, felt like it didn't have a huge impact. The mini set did, but yeah, it's just interesting to see how it works out.
Well, do you feel like the power creep is necessary to keep the game interesting?
I mean, I think you have to. I think you have to an extent. It's just, where do you draw that line? And I think that's a hard one to find. And I think they're on a decent line these days with it. I think Stormwind was a little, was the extreme outlier of where it went crazy. Oh, yeah. The game literally changed. It was from Forged in the Barrens to Stormwind. You cannot, like, it's like a completely different game. It was insane. Well, so
it's interesting you say that, because I always feel like Forged in the Barrens, they tried to reset the power creep. It felt like they took the power of the previous year, or the year that rotated, and they tried to bring it way down so that way they could creep up from there. How important do you think that was? I mean, I know you felt that Stormwind kind of diluted that or mitigated that, but like how important do you think it was to kind of reset the power level, and how often do you think they should do that?
I think it is important every once in a while. I mean, they did that with Rostica. It's funny though, sets that do that are always some of the most reviled sets, because people want to do powerful stuff at the end of the day, but I feel like it's a necessary thing, or else it's just always going to spiral out of control. So yeah, Forge the Barons is definitely felt a lot less power level, but it was also a frustrating one when Control Priest is one of the more dominant decks that just always seems to piss people off. Yeah. And it was also just like infinite, like random stuff, so I was always mad. No, I think it's good. It's just like you have to know when to time it, and also like when the game needs it. And I think probably at that time it did, and then Stormwind just completely erased that memory and just went crazy, and then they've been kind of dialing it back since then too, I feel like. And even though that's not even standard, I feel like the impact is still in the game. And but then you play Twist and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this was crazy. At least with the decks it still exists there. But I do feel like, trying to reset that every once in a while is pretty important, or else again, when does it end? When does the power level get too far? And they also do dial it back, of course, with balance changes and stuff too, right? Like that's always applicable, where if you nerf a card, you sometimes outright destroy a card, that can change things as well. So there's multiple ways of kind of doing it.
Well, people don't like balance metas. People think they want balance metas, but they don't, because like right now we probably have one of the most balanced metas we've had in a while, and people are bored. And I know it's because we've had the same cards for a while, but I personally, but other people get frustrated when there's no power outliers that you can play, and every deck is kind of on par with each other, so it's harder to climb, harder to target something and really aggressively make moves. But so if you're Team 5, what would you think if it, like, I know we've said they have a very hard job, and I agree, and they do a very good job at it, but how would you suggest that they try to design new cards that don't let power creep get out of control, but yet are still fun and interesting and keep the meta moving?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm glad I'm not a card designer. I'm someone who's good at pointing out, like, something's busted or something's pissing me off, but I'm not the type of person that could ever like solve that issue, or I don't think anybody can, because if there was, I think that people would be doing it. I just think you have to, I don't know, keep in perspective of like, I don't know, like I think look at times where things got out of control. Like Demon Hunter launch was one of the most broken things we've ever seen. What got to that point, and that was just cards just being ridiculously too good for their cost and stuff, and try and be like, okay, is it like this or that or whatever? But honestly, I feel like they've gotten a lot better. I think the Death Knight launch in particular was like a sign that like, okay, our Demon Hunter launch was not great. It kind of turned off a lot of people that were excited to come back for that. And instead of making everything completely broken, they almost made it not good enough, where Death Knight wasn't even that strong. And then they buffed it up over time, and then it became too good for a bit. But I thought it was a really much better approach in terms of at least not souring people on it. But then it also had the downside of people weren't excited to play the new class because it wasn't super strong and you're not winning with it. So it's such an impossible line to balance. Like, it's so difficult. And all I could do is provide my feedback on what feels bad when I play it and what I think should get addressed. Should this be buffed in Death Knight, or should it be nerfed in Demon Hunter launch? And that's the type of feedback I give. And like I saw today, they put out a job position for the final design team. I would never apply for it because I don't think I'm that creative or smart a person to be able to design cards that people want to play. I don't even have good ideas for that, but I do know when I'm pissed off and what's frustrating me, and I communicate that. So I don't want to act like I'm better or have better ideas than the design team in that regard. I just kind of give my feedback on like how it feels to me or how my audience is feeling, because I hear it every day from them as well.
All right, so while Celestinon's not listening, Zeddy doesn't want to be initial design, he wants to be final design.
Exactly. There we go.
All right, so, well, in theory, though, power creep in the cards that affect standard doesn't really matter, right? Because in general, you're playing in a limited subset. So even if, like, let's say the new Snow Chugger is just as good as the Snow Chugger from the past, it doesn't matter because you don't have both of them. How do we feel about the power creep and how it affects Wild? It makes a lot of older cards unplayable. How do you think that Team 5 can make powerful new cards yet keep a lot of the collection still relevant for those people that are playing in Wild and in duels and that sort of format?
I think they're trying to a Twist. That's what Twist is all about. They know that with the way the cards have evolved, that 99% of Wild cards are just complete utter garbage in comparison to what we have now. Like when they have a sale for Wild packs, I always tell my viewers, don't buy them, because pretty much all those cards are useless. Like the power level of those cards are just crap in comparison to what we see now. So Twist, the idea with that is like, okay, we can have rotating formats where we can have, those cards sheltered from the new broken stuff. We just haven't seen that yet because we had that New Age format, right? Which was basically standard with Stormwind and like Alterac. So I think we'll see that better. That's what the kind of the mission of that mode is, and I'm really excited to see how that develops. I just feel like this first format really doesn't represent or highlight what Twist can do, and I hope that, I don't know what the next format is. I really hope it will highlight those things, but I don't think Wild can ever be that player decks of old, player cards of old, unless it was heavily balanced and ban lists and all sorts of stuff, and they just don't have the interest or the resources to do that. And then you're also pissing a subset off that don't want that. So I think that's what Twist is all about, to try and let people play their cards of old in formats of old. I think that would be preferable.
Yeah, that was my concern about Twist right off the bat, is that I think I love the concept of Twist. I'm very excited about it. I think they can do good things, but doing the New Age thing first, I think, was a mistake, because people are going to say, we just saw this. Like, we finally got rid of this. Why are we doing this again? And they could have really done anything else. And I get why they did, because it was pretty simple. It incorporated new cards and recent cards, so a lot of people would still have the collections probably, but we want to see some wackiness out of it, and it just wasn't quite there.
It's just too safe. I think it was just too safe. You got to get people excited. You got to take a bit more of a risk, I think, but we'll see. I don't know what they have planned for their next. They'll come back in September, and they said they have a surprise to come with it. So hopefully that'll be good.
And my theory is if they do twist the way I kind of hope they do, is I kind of hope that they always, that first month of a new expansion, they don't have twists. So we just focus on like the new expansion and stuff like that. Then it's like, oh, hey guys, Twist is back. Here's a new format, and it can keep people engaged for a while. And I actually kind of would like if they said, here's the set and here are the rules for this month, and then the next month after that, I say, oh, it's the same format, but here are a couple different rules. And so it's like you still kind of work with what you have, but then things change. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I personally, I've been watching Titan. I feel like there's been a lot of, I don't know if it's power creep, but this set feels so much stronger than most of the time second set of a meta of a year comes out. I feel like this is more powerful than most. Do you agree with me? Do you think this set is full of power creep, or do you think it's just powerful mechanics that are different and engaging?
Second set's usually one of the most powerful lately. Stormwind was the second set. Skullman's also one of the most powerful expansions ever. Frozen Throne had Death Knights. There's been a lot of powerful second sets. This does seem like a very scary power level set. There's a lot of mana cheat in particular. There's a lot of cards that can cause 0 and stuff like that. And the Titans are just like pure on, like just super like powerful, if you want to use the word power creep. They're definitely power creep, but I love the idea of power creeping with what they're doing. A lot of it lately, like Colossals. Like if you look at a Colossal, they're utterly broken for their mana costs. Completely compare like Dr. Boom to Hydrolodon. It's ridiculous, like how much more powerful it is. But we never did that before with like old big card. Like the big minions are just never playable, and it's actually allowing for big minions to be playable, and I think that's really fun. And you don't really hear people bitching about Colossals, even though they're totally broken. They really are, but they barely got nerfed, and I rarely hear people bitch about them, and they're played like crazy. So I think we're seeing a lot of that again with this, and I think that's great, and I hope the Titans are fun like Colossals. And I worry about some of the mana cheat stuff. There's a lot of mana cheat to set, but we'll see. But it does seem like a very powerful set. And I have said a couple of times, like, oh, are we going to get Stormwind 2.0? To wait and see, I guess. But yeah, it does seem like a very strong set.
If you would like to hear some complaining about Colossals, when Behemoth is played against me on stream...
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of that.
That's one of the rare ones they buffed, too. That was 8 mana originally. Think about 7 mana, 8/10 plus a 1/4, and it auto attacks and heal. Like the power level that's obscene. It was like never been seen. I've never seen that before. And but I think it's kind of cool to make. Also with like Raid Boss and Nixie was another card. It's like just giant stat bomb that we didn't see that before.
And Behemoth is really frustrating when they've stolen your faithful companions and then drawn that on 10 mana to get 2 of them. But anyway,
I've made a few people concede with that, just a few. Because yes, I do play Control Priest.
We won't hold that against you. Some of our viewers might, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So, do you have any final thoughts on power creep?
Just it's something I love to meme about. I love to compare the new card versus the old card. It's just for fun. Like 99% of the time, it's just for fun. I just don't want it to be a crutch, something that like, oh, well, our next set is just more powerful cards than the last. But I don't feel like we get that the 99% of the time. I feel like it's gotten a lot better, and I think it's cool to power creep, especially on stuff of things that might not have worked out in the past before, but let's try it with a bit more of a powerful edge, see how it goes. And I think that's been rather successful a lot of the time, and I'm curious to see how they keep going. Otherwise, the game's just got to make the game exciting, and doing powerful stuff is exciting. That's just absolutely true. It's just how powerful. How do you find that line? I think that's just a constant work in progress that I think they're doing a good job of trying their best to figure out.
I couldn't agree more. But wow, I'm starting to get full, Doc. But you know what? I think I still got a little room for dessert. How about yourself?
Yeah, dessert sounds good to me. So, listeners, please leave us a review. We would prefer a 5-star review, but because it helps with visibility. But as always, please vote or leave a review with the star rating that your heart desires. Let us know what we're doing that you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, just so that we can improve the show in a way that we're all proud of and want to get more people listening to. So, Zeddy, one final question for you: what is your favorite dessert?
Dessert. I'm an ice cream kind of guy. I like give me some like ice cream cake. I'm a child at heart, so I still like my Dairy Queen ice cream cake type of stuff. I just love that stuff. Chocolate fudge, it's just delicious. I like that type of stuff. I'm a like chocolate and sweets in particular.
Heck yeah. Ice cream, one of my favorites.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just great. What's not to like? So Zeddy, if people want to find you and don't know how, where can they find you?
I upload every day on youtube.com at Zeddy Hearthstone. I stream 5 days a week, usually Tuesday through Saturday? Yes, on twitch.tv/Zeddy. And I don't even know what to call Twitter these days, but I'm on Twitter at ZeddyHS. If that site is still going to exist, I don't know. Exit out. I don't know what's going. It is weird, but I tweet all the time there. 90% of the time memes and try and have some fun with just, making memes or just some news updates and stuff. So that's kind of where I hang out.
Doc, how about yourself? Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me over at Twitch /DocMcButt, and you can also find me on Twitter at DocMcButt. And if you want to, you can email the show at breadandbutter, N as in the letter HS, at gmail.com. Shout out to Dire Spare. Thank you so much. And Tito, how about yourself?
Wait, I can find you on twitch.com? Really? Are you sure about that?
Twitch.tv.
Twitch.tv?
Yeah. Same potato.
But can I find you there? That's the question.
Yeah. I'm sure.
You can find me at Twitter and Twitch at Tito Santana HS. I am taking the approach on Twitter, or X as we call it nowadays, the kids are saying, is I am just going to keep posting there because everyone still is there complaining about how Twitter is going away. Until Ridiculous Hat comes and says the Hearthstone community has moved to new social media platform X, I'm just going to stay on Twitter. And
but it is called X. Yeah.
Y, Z, whatever. If we moved over here, then I'll know how to move.
The problem is there just is no alternative, and that's the thing. And like there's just, and I think he knows that, and he's just doing what he wants until that happens.
And the problem is with all the new platforms, it's splintering the communities. People are like, oh, I'm on Blue Sky, oh, I'm on Threads, oh, I'm on I don't know, whatever. And so all it is making our community smaller. Yet everyone is still complaining about Twitter on Twitter. So until that stops happening, I am staying there. But Zeddy, you got any shout outs this week?
Shout outs for I guess I'll shout out the 2 places I'm always at these days on Twitch. I usually hang out with Theo HS and Engine. They're some of the best Hearthstone streamers out there that I harass all the time, so give them a shout out. And also Nova's always supporting me, sticking up for me, meowing at me, and also liking to bite and claw at me once in a while. So she's a good kitty, but gotta shout out the Nova.
Yep.
Doc, how about yourself?
So I want to shout out, well, first and foremost, Zeddy, thank you so much for being on the show with us. It means a lot to have someone who is your size compared to our size, being willing to talk Hearthstone. So thank you. And then I want to shout out Matt at Arms, just because it was fun hanging out in Discord with him today, just playing some BGs as he was getting the show notes ready for Squelch. He's just overall a good dude, and love that guy. Tito, how about yourself?
Well, obviously, I'd like to echo what you said about Zeddy. Zeddy, it was a fantastic pleasure to have you on. Hopefully, we'll have you on again sometime soon. It's just a pleasure to talk to. I want to shout out to Hat and Wicked Good and everybody else in the Coin Concede Tech channel. That we've had a lot of good discussions this week that have helped me fix some issues with my setup and my audio and good ideas. It's been a lot of good discussions. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it, guys. I think we're toast. We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.